Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to the San Diego Bass Fishing Podcast. Today we have Mr. Tom Lowery on, and he just finished seventh at the Western Outdoors Lake Mead Open. And congratulations, Tom. Welcome back. Thanks for coming back on and helping us out with this tournament recap from Lake Mead, man. Congratulations. I'm super stoked for you.
Thank you, man. I'm stoked too. It was awesome. I can't wait to talk about it. So yeah, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. And I guess we can get to this later too, but I do also, after we do the Lake Mead, I want to get a rundown for the Friends of San Diego Lakes, update on what's been going on with that. So, but anyway, onto the main, the meat of this whole thing is, do you have a history of fishing Lake Mead?
I do. I do. I've been out there many, many times. So I fished several U.S. Opens when they used to have, the U.S. Open used to be at Lake Mead forever. That was the lake. They'd had the U.S. Open, the One Bass U.S. Open on forever. And so I fished several of those. And then I've also fished a bunch of team fish-off championships out there. Mostly American bass. So I've been there many times. I tell you what, I don't know what it is about that place. It's like a love-hate thing.
Yeah.
If you talk to guys that have been there a lot and that know it, a lot of guys will say the same thing. It's just an unbelievable place to fish. Super, super challenging. But it's changed a lot over the.
Oh, you're kind of breaking up. Okay. Something happened.
Oh, what happened?
No, we're good. You're good. So it's changed a lot in the last couple 10 or 15 years. It seems like the fish have gotten bigger. You guys had some good bags.
Yeah, I was really surprised myself. So, a few years ago, they just stopped having tournaments out there because of the water level, right? Because you couldn't launch, so there hadn't been a big event, a Pro-Am tournament there in quite some time. They had team tournaments there last year, the Nevada ABA region, but, last time I fished it was like 2000 or 2001. And, but way back in the day, like 7, 8, 9 pound limit, at best.
Right. Right.
Back in the U.S. Open days, if you got, 7, 8, 9 pounds a day, you're probably going to get a check. And then like anything 10 pounds or better, you're in there. But now, the bags are bigger. The fish are really healthy. The bags are bigger and the weights are just all went up.
Yeah, what was it? 13-pound day average got to win. But and you caught like a 5-pounder. You had a good practice. You caught a 5-pounder in practice.
So practice was interesting. I had an okay practice. It wasn't great. But yeah, I caught the biggest fish I've ever caught at Lake Mead during practice, a 512 largemouth, and I was just like, wow, I could use this fish during the tournament. That's for sure.
Well, yeah. So how do you approach such a big body of water, especially considering we're in San Diego and all of our lakes are so small? How do you go up there and what do you do?
Yeah, that's great. So when I go to Lake Mead, the way I approach it is, there's kind of like 3 parts to Lake Mead. There's the Temple Bar, Greg's Basin. If you run, there's the Overton, and then you've got the Lower Basin if you stay local, like around Colville. And part of the Lower Basin is like the wash. And so there's really 3 parts to it. So for me personally, I want to look at all of it because I've gone there in the past where I didn't go to Greg's or I didn't go to Overton or I didn't go to the wash and it's hurt me. It's hurt me.
Mm-hmm.
So when I go there to practice, I plan out my practice like 3-4 days of practice, and I look at the whole lake. I go to the Overton, I go to Greg's, I go to the Wash, and the middle part, which is like the Virgin and Temple Bar. So
Okay.
now you can't fish all that during the tournament. I mean, you can, but you spend more time driving than you do fishing. So
Mm.
I look at all of it over the course of 3 days, and then I pretty much narrow things down and commit to where I'm going to spend my time.
Yeah. So where did you commit to?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. We'll get into that. So
okay.
What's interesting, and that's really based on a few different things, right? Because I caught fish everywhere. The fishing was good. The fishing is good right now.
Yeah, that's
Fishing
what I've
was
heard.
even
I've heard it is good. Like
fishing was
it's
even better like a few months ago. It changed. It got a little tougher, but fishing was even better a few months ago.
yeah.
But the thing about Lake Mead is this time of year, I don't know about other times of year, but I fish it a lot in the summertime and in the fall. I've never really fished it in the springtime. I'm sure it's different, but this time of year, they're pretty much eating everything. You can catch a bass on anything at Lake Mead right now. A crankbait, a jerkbait, a topwater bait, a jig, a drop shot. I mean, it's like the junk fishing paradise, really. So you pick what
That's
you
cool.
want to do, and you can go. So I'm really happy that I got to catch them the way I wanted to catch them, which is pretty much all on topwater, and the jig. But so I spent my time where not where I got the most bites, but where I got the best bites, really, right? Because I kind of caught fish everywhere, and so I had a plan. I eliminated the lower basin. In Greg's, or not Greg's, the Wash. Although there's winning fish in the Wash, and, so I spent my time in the Overton. I spent most of my tournament time in Overton, and a little bit in Temple Bar. I was going to go to Greg's all the way at the end, but I didn't have to. That was kind of like my backup plan.
How far is that? How far is Greg's Basin from Colville Bay?
So Colville to Greg's Basin, if you're going all out, wide open on glass water, 40 minutes. 45 minutes.
So it's you looking at 45 miles, 50 miles?
Something like that. Yeah. It's far. It's far. I mean, you can get to you can get to Temple Bar from Colville in 30 minutes. Depending on what part of Temple Bar, you can get to parts of the Overton, Echo Bay in 30 to 40 minutes.
But so is that 60 miles an hour? Is that 70 miles an hour?
Yeah, about 70. Yeah, about 70 miles an hour. I mean, I had a full tank of gas. I had two guys in the boat, running through the narrows at Lake Mead, full, like more tackle than I needed, 25 rods, the whole bit. And I was like 69.8. I got a fast one. My boat's pretty fast. They're not all fast. My boat's pretty fast. If I'm by myself, I'm over 70, 71, 72.
Yeah. So how much gas were you burning? How much gas did you burn with two guys in your boat and all the tournament loaded?
You know what? I didn't burn that much gas because once I got to my area, I was fishing a mile, pretty much a mile long stretch of an area.
Oh, okay. Nice.
So once I got there, I would start my big motor to just motor around to the next bay or the next couple cuts or whatever, and then I'd turn it off. I wasn't running. I really committed to, I'm going to fish this stretch and I'm going to milk it for everything it's got. And if I'm in trouble and I need to run somewhere else, like run to Temple or run to Greg's, I'm going to do that. And I never had to do that.
Okay. All right.
But on the flip side, you can burn a lot of gas if you run to the Overton, then you run to Greg's, then you run to the Watt. I mean,
Oh yeah.
you can burn a lot of gas.
Sure. Yeah. So give us a rundown. How'd your 3 days go?
Oh man, so day one, yeah, let's get into the fun stuff, right?
Yeah.
So day one, I I spent a lot of time talking to my co-anglers and just kind of prepping them because, this is a unique event. It's basically a team tournament. Um, you've got a co-angler in the boat, and what he catches is yours, and what you catch is his. So, it's really worth your time to make sure they're successful.
Mm-hmm.
I don't ignore my co-angler. I don't just say show up in the morning and throw whatever you want to throw. I work with that person. That's my friend for the day, right? And I made some good friends on this trip, that I hope to keep in touch with. But so I told them what was going on. I said, I'm going to give you the baits, and I'm going to tell you what to throw. You can throw whatever you want. You can do whatever you want. But if you want to listen to me and you want to work with me, I think we'll have a good shot at a nice bag. And they were all willing to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So we did that, and we went fishing. And so I pull into my first spot. On the first day, I was fifth flight, boat 76.
Yeah.
So there's 105 boats. I was boat 76. I was worried about getting my spot. I was worried about getting my first cut, where I was going to start and then just work my way down. So I'm running for 30 minutes, and I get there, and I pull in, and I look to my left and I look to my right, and there's not a boat in sight. There wasn't a boat.
That's a good feeling.
There wasn't a boat anywhere, and I was so happy, man. I was like, oh my God, this is great. And the sun was already up. The sun was already up, peeking over the mountain and everything. And I was just like, whatever. So we start fishing, and on my third cast, I catch a 4-pound largemouth.
Nice. And what a way
So
to start the day. Like,
that's how my day
yes.
started.
Yeah.
So I was throwing a super spook. I was throwing a bone colored super spook. I pretty much threw the super spook the whole tournament.
Yeah.
And I threw it all day.
Yeah. Western Outdoor News was sending us updates, and they would send like what the top 7 or top 10 are using. And I saw there was a super spook in there, and I was like, oh yeah, that's I've talked with Tom about this before, and I was like, oh yeah, there it is. There it is.
Yeah,
Right
man,
on.
they were eating it. They were pretty much eating it all day. I mean, I'd go an hour without a bite, whatever.
Yeah.
And then I'd catch 2. And the nice thing about the super spook is you would catch quality fish on it too. So,
right.
I mean, I knew I could throw a drop shot out there and catch a fish, or a jig or a kite tech and catch a fish. But I also knew if I just kept that spook in my hand and just kept throwing it and throwing it and throwing it, I could catch a 4-pounder or a 3-pounder.
Yeah.
So third cast of the first day, I catch a 4-pound largemouth. That's how we start the day.
Yeah.
And we're all pumped up, right? And then we go around the corner, and my co-angler is throwing a Rico. So that was pretty much my deal, the super spook and the Rico.
Yeah.
And they could throw that pretty good. You don't have to work the Rico perfectly. You can blurp it, you can spit it, you can pop it, let it sit. They were just knocking the crap out of it. They were crushing it.
How did you, if you don't mind me asking too much about specifics, how did you have him rig his Rico up? Was it like straight mono or straight braid, or did you have him doing a certain thing?
My co-anglers came with good equipment and the right equipment. So he was throwing the Rico on light braid to a leader.
Yeah.
Braid to a leader, a mono leader, and I was throwing my super spook on braid to a mono leader. That's how I always do it.
Yeah. That's cool.
I do a mono. I don't do straight braid to my topwater. I do a little leader about that long, because if it gets windy, I don't want the braid to wrap around the the hooks, and then I got to
Right.
retie.
Yeah.
If the mono wraps around the hooks or the bait, it's no big deal. I just undo it and off I go. And it gives that little bit of stretch. So when they
Yeah.
jump and shake or whatever,
Yeah.
it just works for me. And I never broke off and they never broke off. And, 30-pound braid and a 15-pound mono leader, if you tie it right, it's not going to break.
Yeah. Yeah. It just, I know I've had in the past for myself. Rob McGargle would preaches about straight braid to like his little sonar minnow setups and whatnot. So I tried that for a while, and it just seemed like maybe it was probably the single hook, but I would hook the fish. They bit it just fine, but I'd hook the fish, and it seemed like they came off. And I was using a pretty soft rod, but it seemed like I lost a lot of fish to that with that straight braid to a topwater kind of lure setup. So I kind
Yeah.
of got away from that, but obviously
Yeah.
maybe with
Yeah.
3 sets of trebles, it doesn't have that effect.
Yeah. No, I hear you. I think it has more to do with the rod, really. I think it has
Yeah,
more. I'm not
yeah.
throwing. I'm throwing my Super Spook on a medium light Phoenix
Oh
Ultra
wow.
MBX.
Huh.
So a medium light instead of a medium.
Yeah.
So it's
That's
really got
interesting.
a soft tip,
Yeah.
and it bends nice when I hook the fish or whatever. But
Yeah.
so
So
day
so the rest, yeah, how'd the rest of the day go?
Yeah, so day one, I mean, we started out with that nice big one. We go around the corner, he catches like a 2.5 smallie on the Rico, and that's pretty much the how the rest of the day went. I mean, we had 2 in the box pretty quick. We had a limit by 8:30, 9 o'clock. We had a limit. I would say probably around with that 4-pounder, probably around an 11-pound limit or so. And then at 10 o'clock, I remember because I looked at 10 o'clock, my co-angler catches a 4-pound smallie on the Rico.
Whoa. Just middle of the day. 4-pound smallmouth on
Well,
topwater.
10 o'clock, 10 o'clock. So
Yeah.
what's
Yeah.
weird about this, so I was fishing these cuts with grass and sticks and these bigger bays, and you'd come out of the big bay and there'd be a bunch of little cuts and long reefs and points that come out.
Yeah.
And I just came over this area with my spook, and I just worked the same water, and he threw behind us a pretty long cast, and popped it a couple times, and this fish just smoked it. And it was a big smallie. And we put that fish in the boat, and we went right to like 15, I don't know, 15 pounds, 15 and a half pounds. Because now we got 2 4-pounders, and we're
Oh
high
yeah.
fiving and everything. And it's like 10:30. It's
Yeah.
like 10:30. So day one was just awesome. They were there, and they were there because the bait fish was there. This area had scattered bait fish. The stripers were on the outside, and we'd catch stripers here and there, but it was
Mhm.
just couldn't have been more ideal conditions, and the fish were there and they were biting. And so we called a few times, and I think I left that I worked a lot of the stretch, and then I think I left at like 2 o'clock to really play it safe to get in on time. I think my weigh-in time was 3:15 that day.
Mhm.
And we came in with 16:56.
Yeah.
And the reason why I went from 16:56 to 15:94 is because I had a dead fish.
Yeah.
Billy has a pretty severe dead fish penalty. It's a half a pound.
Yeah,
It's a
that's
half a
that's
pound dead fish
that's
penalty.
huge.
And so I had the leading weight. I should have been leading the tournament, but I was in second after day one, which is fine. But the smallies are real fragile there, and we had a smallmouth die on us because it was just hooked funky. And I don't know. I had
Yeah.
Rejuvenate in my live well. I had my live wells running all day, and the fish were fine. I was checking on them all day, but I opened it up before we came in, and I had one floating belly up, and I was super bummed.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
really happy to be almost leading after day one.
Yeah. Yeah, I would imagine so. It was, man, sitting here at home watching the thing, that was pretty exciting for us here for me, it was. I was like, wow, we're all typing. We all got our text messages, typing our friends like, oh, Tom's in second. And it was pretty cool. That was really cool. Colander's in, what was he? He was like an eighth or something after the first day, or slipped down to 10th or something by the end of it. But he was in the top 10 too. So, but okay,
Yeah.
so you wake up the next day and you're ready to go. How'd that go?
Yeah, man. So book it back to the hotel, redo a couple rock. It was cool because I go back to the hotel and, we're all parked and there's like, a bunch of other boats and guys I'm hanging out with and stuff. And everybody starts re-rigging everything. And I re-rig and I do my stuff and I'm done in like 20 minutes. And I start locking all my lockers. I start locking everything and guy next to me goes, "You're done already?" I go, "Yeah, man." And he's got like 15 rods spread across his deck or whatever.
Yeah.
And I said, "I only had to retie 3 rods, man. I'm done." I'll see you later. And so, I mean, I've got 25 rods in the rod locker and they're all rigged and all ready, but I was only planning on touching 3 rods the next day.
Yeah.
So that's a great feeling, man.
It's such a good feeling. when you only have 1, 2, 3 rods on the deck and you're heading out, dude, that's one of the best feelings in the world.
And I didn't even think twice about it. I didn't think like, oh, I need to get my Kitech rod ready or my jig rod or my drop shot rod. Because I thought from the drive after the weigh-in to the hotel, it's like a 30-minute drive, 35-minute drive. Your brain just goes. You just start thinking, what am I going to do tomorrow? How can I do? Does that area have enough fish, or am I going to have what is my plan? And so I just said, I'm going to go run the same freaking water day 2. I said, the quality's there. There's a couple fish that came up on the bait that looked really, really big that didn't commit. I don't know why. And I just decided I'm going to run the same water. In fact, not just the same water, but I didn't get to all my water. So I had water left. Mm-hmm. Like out of that mile, I probably fished a half a mile of it,
Oh, wow. Wow. Okay. That's good.
So yeah, I didn't sleep very well. I'm all jacked up, but day 2 came and I was, what was I? Second flight, boat number. Oh crud! They just went in reverse order. That's
right.
Still
so if you were 70th, you were going to be like whatever 25th.
Yeah, out. I was second flight. So I don't normally do this, but I started on the exact same spot.
Yeah.
I started on the exact same bay, the exact same spot where I caught the big one the day before. And I made the exact same cast to the grass, exact same angle, exact same everything. And guess what? I didn't get bit.
Imagine that.
I didn't get bit because that fish was gone. And the stripers were there. The stripers were.
Yeah. Plenty of those to go around. Those man, you can really dry an area out for sure. Man, we'll learn that on Havasu.
Yeah. So I put the trolling motor on high and I started going, and about 100 yards away, I caught like our first one. It was like a 2.5. Yeah. And that was a smallmouth. We caught mostly smallmouth. Uh-huh. Man, the smallmouth are just, I don't know. They're just biting better, easier to find, easier to catch. Those nice largemouth are just hard to find and catch.
Yeah.
Where I was fishing anyway, up in Overton, Echo Bay area. Mm-hmm. So kind of a similar day. I caught that 2.5, and then my partner caught like a 2, and then we'd go for a while and not get bit. But I mean, I just kept telling my co-angler, hey man, It's definitely slower today. It feels slower. I think we had 2 fish in the first 2 hours, which is still, okay, whatever.
Right.
And I just told my partner, I said, hey man, we're going to do this all day and we're going to have a limit, and it's probably going to be over 10 pounds. So just, hang in there, man. Keep throwing. You could catch a 3 or 4 pounder on that thing. Oh yeah. They were totally fine. He was totally fine. And we just kept picking away at them. And they were, we catch a 1.5 and then a 2 pounder. And then I think we had a limit by like 10 or so. And then I think I caught like a 3 pounder, one of our good ones on the spook. We started calling, and I think we called like 3 or 4 times.
Mm-hmm.
I did run across to some different water. Oh, that's what happened. So this is kind of an interesting part. So I have a limit, and it's like midday, it's like noon. And I think we got about 10 pounds, 10 and a half pounds. And I said, I want to go fish this other area. So I ran for about 10, 15 minutes to this other little area. Because I got a couple of largemouth in this other area, it seemed, and no smallmouth. So we start fishing this other stretch, and I catch a largemouth, and then he catches one, but they were small. They were small. They didn't help us. They were like 1.5s. And I think our smallest one was like a 1.9. I got that Bubba scale.
Yeah.
That thing is just awesome.
I love it.
Super good.
It seems like it weighs a little light to me. Well, it does weigh light. For some reason, whenever I bring my stuff to the scales, it's always heavier, which is good, which is a great thing. But yeah, I have the same one. And I love it.
I love it. It just makes life so much easier. And my scale was dead on to Billy's scale, which I was like really surprised.
Okay.
So anyway, I go to the stretch and we're catching fish, and then I do catch like a 2.5 pound largie that calls out one of our smaller fish. So we get a little bit of a bump. And then we catch another keeper largemouth that didn't help. And then another keeper largemouth that didn't help. And then I go, and then all of a sudden I say, oh, wait a minute. We're like burning fish right now. Because we just caught two keepers that didn't help my bag.
Yep.
And I could go to this area tomorrow, day 3, and I need those fish. So I told my partner, I go, we got to get out of here.
So are you still by yourself, or are you starting to see other boats now?
Oh no, there's other boats. So the first day I ran into like 2 or 3 boats where I was fishing after our epic morning. But the second day I ran into like 6 or 7 boats.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So it got a little busier.
Yeah.
And it's not like this is a secret area. Other guys know this area. They know this water. I wasn't surprised to start seeing other boats show up there. I'm sure they know, they got bit there too.
Yeah.
But by day 3, it was really crowded. It was really crowded.
Yeah.
But
I bet it was.
So we left where I felt like, I was burning fish, and we went back to my fish where I thought we could catch better fish. And then we just ran out of time. And I came in and weighed 1207 on day 2.
Nice. So going into day 3, I mean, what were you after day 3? You're still in the top 5, right? Going into day 3.
So I'm in fourth place after 2 days. And that was pretty awesome. I was like, wow.
Now Julius came in and he had a 19-pound bag, was kind of like, what you didn't see him at all, did you? I mean, he was like, that 19-pound bag of mead, that was just like blew everybody's hair back. Like, whoa, that was something.
That was an incredible bag. Yeah, I did see him. He drove by me. He drove by me midday. So I saw him drive by me. But so I was super stoked to be in
Yeah.
fourth after 2 days.
Mm.
But when I saw Julius's bag, that 19-pound bag, and that he was like, I don't know, 9 pounds ahead of me or whatever, I was like,
Right.
oh crap, man. Like I got to weigh like, you know, a 15-pound bag tomorrow, and he's got a choke,
Right.
you know.
Sure. Yeah.
And I talked to him. I know him.
Oh, do you?
And I talked to him and I go, hey, do you think you can catch him again tomorrow? And he's like, oh yeah, maybe not as
Oh,
big, but I think I can get 12 to 14. And I was like, oh
wow.
shit, man. Wow. Cool. But
Ah,
yeah, so that was like, yeah.
huh.
And it was cool
It-
because Dennis was in fifth. So me and Dennis, my buddy, we
right.
got fourth and fifth. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah. 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 And it was pretty tight there in the third, fourth, fifth,
So
or the fourth, fifth, sixth air in the standings at that point. It was tight, like within a pound.
yeah,
It's
yeah, it
skipping.
was. I think
Right.
I had like a 2-pound lead
Yeah.
over the gut. Oh, the connection, internet.
Yeah. It's just skipping just a little bit. It's not bad.
Hello,
Yeah.
are we
You're good.
back?
Yep. You get me? 1 2 1 2. What are we at? 35, 58?
Yeah. So
I can hear you. No, I can't hear you.
day three. Are we doing day three now? Is that
Yeah.
where we're
Yeah.
at?
Go ahead and go with day 3. What's going on? You talked to
My
Julius, and
connection's fine.
I seem to be okay. I can see myself all the time, the whole time
My
here.
connection looks fine, so I'll just keep rolling.
Okay. Yeah. 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 You're good. Day 3, we met
Okay.
Julius.
So day three again, yeah. So day three, again, I just have to think through what I was gonna do, how I was gonna do it. Like I have other water. I've got those fish up in Greg's and Temple Bar. So I was just contemplating and thinking like, can I get 10 or more pounds out of my area?
Mm,
Or do I abandon it and go to my other stuff? And so I I just decided that I was going to go back. I mean, to be able to get 16 and then go back and get 12. Oh, Bruce, you just disappeared. I think it's your side, Bruce. I'm just going to keep talking.
I can see
You
you
just
fine. I can.
disappeared, but I'm
You're
going to
on
keep
there.
talking.
Yeah. Go ahead. Keep talking.
Guys are probably like, what the hell?
No, it's all good.
So I just decided, okay, I just decided I was going to go back to my same water, and I was just going to milk it on day three and try to pull out another limit. And then I would decide, after my morning, depending on what's in the live well, I would just decide. I mean, you got to make decisions on the water. You got to make decisions on the water during the event. You can't decide everything, how your day exactly is going to go, where you're going to fish, everything you're going to do, you know, the day before. You got to decide things in the
Sure.
moment. So
Yeah.
that's what I did. So we went out day three, and day three was tough, man. Um, Day three was super tough. I had 2 fish by noon. So we stuck to the game plan, same baits, spook and the Rico. I started throwing the Rico more. I was throwing the spook like 95% of the time, day one and
Mm-hmm.
two.
Mm-hmm.
On day three, I caught 1 fish on the spook in the morning, and my partner got 1 on the Rico, but then he got a couple other bites. And man, I didn't get a bite on the spook for like 2.5 hours. And so it was a little choppy. The wind came up a little bit. It was kind of breezy. So the spook was kind of like, I don't know. I just picked up the Rico and I started fishing the Rico more myself. And then I caught one on it. And I only had 2 fish at noon on day 3. And so I was kind of freaking out.
Yeah.
And this is kind of a cool part. So I'm getting to another cool part. So don't hang up, guys.
Okay.
So it's 12 o'clock. It's day 3. I got 2 fish in the live well. And I'm thinking to myself, man, if I stay here and I keep going and I don't get any more bites and I come in with 2 fish, that's going to suck. That's really going to suck.
Yeah.
So I know I can go. I know I can go to Temple Bar, and I know I can throw the jig, and I know I can catch keepers because they were just chomping the jig up there.
Yeah.
And I know I can fill my limit, but that means abandon my topwater fish, which I think I can get a bigger bite on topwater. And so this is all running through my head at 12 o'clock. And I'm talking to my co-angler about it. And I'm like, dude, I'm going to have to make a tough decision in a minute. I mean, I don't have to weigh in till we're last to weigh in. I don't have to weigh until 4:30. So I still got 4 hours, but
yeah, that's right. You're going to have to explain that too. Afterwards, you can explain it. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. So, how we go out. So I'm talking to my co-angler and I'm kind of like mentally trying to decide what I'm going to do. And now it's 12:30, 12:35. I'm watching the clock and I look down and I see a smallmouth swim by the boat. Crystal clear water. Smallmouth swims by the boat over this reef, right? And I got my jig rod on the deck. My jig rod sitting there. So I reach down, I grab my jig rod, I throw the jig down there in front of the smallmouth, and this fish swims over and eats it.
Nice.
And I hook them, and I just crank them in and bounce them. I just bounce them.
Yeah.
And it's like a 2-pounder.
Yeah.
It's like a 2-pounder. So now I got 3.
Good sign.
And I was like, oh my God, I needed it. And I hadn't boated a fish in like 2.5 hours. And so I put that fish in the boat, and right when I was trying to decide, do I leave and go throw the jig and fill my limit, that happened.
Yeah.
So I go, you know what? We're going to throw topwater for another 30 minutes. So between 1 and 1:30, because if we go, we got to go soon because we're running out of time. If I don't get a bite in 30 minutes on topwater, we're going to Temple Bar and we're going to go throw the jig. So we threw the topwater. We didn't get a bite, and at 1:20, I ran. I left. I left my stuff.
Yeah.
I left my stuff.
Yeah.
With 3 fish in the boat. So we got to my other stuff up the lake, about a 35-minute run from where I was, and we pull into this bay with a couple of secondary points on it, and it's almost 2 o'clock. And I calculated I was going to leave to come back at 3:30. So I've got 90 minutes. I've got 90 minutes left. I got 3 fish in the boat. So we pull in there and I put the jig on for him. I put my jig on his rod. I put my jig on my rod. Well, I already got the jig on. And I say, throw the jig on these points. And so we're both throwing the jig. And he catches a keeper right away. And 5 minutes later, I catch one and we got a limit. Now we got a limit. So within 10 minutes, we catch 2 keepers.
Nice. Good move.
But now we got a limit.
Yeah.
And about 10 minutes later, I catch another one and we cull.
Yeah.
We cull with that one. And then I don't know. I think we caught maybe one more that didn't help us. And it's like almost 3:30 now. And we wrap it up and we haul ass in. And I bring in 9 pounds that day. And, you know, I wanted more. but we were kind of in trouble. And I made one stop on the way in. We got in early, so I pulled over in the lower basin and I threw the spook for like 20 minutes. And then we just came in. I got in about 8 minutes early at the check-in boat because I always leave myself a little bit of extra time.
Yeah.
You know, you never know, man. Your boat doesn't start, or
Yeah.
you never know.
Yeah.
Didn't want to make that gamble, so I weighed 9 pounds, and I ended up with 36.59, and sixth place was like 36 something, and Justin Patty had a good bag that day, and he
He
passed
moved
me
up.
up.
Yeah.
But
Shane Edgar didn't. Shane Edgar came in with 2 fish or 3 fish.
Yeah, Shane was in trouble. Shane was in
Yeah.
trouble on the last day. That last day is brutal.
Yeah.
Last day was brutal. Oh, so you asked me about going out and coming in. So on the last day, they send you out in order of where you're at in the standings. So first place guy went out first and goes down the list, and we fish till the end. We come in last. So we go out first and we come in last, which is pretty cool. It gives us a super long day.
Yeah.
And then the top 10 all weighs in at the end last.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's it. How do you feel about this whole thing? Give us a wrap up on the whole deal.
Well, it's pretty special. It's pretty special. I mean, I fished a lot of team tournaments locally, a lot of fish offs, competing here locally with all of our friends and stuff. That's a big deal because we're all competitive. We all like to win, it's a good feeling. But to go out of town, fish a pro-am tournament and do well, it's awesome. It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's pretty special.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's hard to do. I never really did good in a US Open. I always started good. I always had 2 good days in the US Open, but I could never put 3 solid days together in a US Open.
Mm-hmm.
I fished a few pro-ams. But this one was super special. So it's great. I'm super happy. I wish I would have done better, of course, but that top 5 would have got me to the Bass Nation, qualification or whatever. But
yeah, so close. Are you gonna go to US Open? Are you going to Mojave?
I can't go to Mojave. I can't. It's 3 weeks away. I know. My job is too demanding. I can't get away in 3 weeks again for another week. So unfortunately I can't go to Mojave, but next year I'm going to make some plans to do quite a bit and go from there. The one bass format is really awesome. And what I really wanted to say, I hope a lot of guys are watching. I hope a lot of young guys are watching, maybe newer to the sport. Listen, if you're newer to the sport or you're young, and you want to get, this kind of fishing experience, sign up as a co-angler, sign up as a AAA. It's an awesome deal. Just to give you perspective, Todd Klein, our buddy Todd Klein, was a co-angler, fished AAA for like a long time, like 3, 4, 5 years, a long time. And, talk to him. I mean, a lot of guys do that. I didn't do that much. I think I fished a few as a co-angler. But man, I highly encourage it. You'll learn so much, and you'll get to fish all these great places and fish with these pros. So I just can't say enough. Billy Egan and One Bass are doing such a great job running a great event. It's just really well ran, and it's just a really good deal.
Yeah. So speaking of which, one thing that I've noticed traveling and doing away tournaments is that it's super hard on your gear, on the boat, on everything. And I was did everything perform up to standard? Did you have any issues with that?
No, it's a good question. I did have some issues. I did have some issues.
Yeah.
So my boat ran great, right? My boat ran
Yeah.
great. My motor ran
Good.
great. Um, I got there and back every day. But let me tell you something, man. If it's gonna break, it's gonna break at Lake Mead. I don't know what it is. I mean, it not only beats up your gear and your equipment,
Yeah.
your boat, it beats up your body and your
Yeah.
skin.
Yeah.
My hands are so cut up and swollen and sore. You've got the dry weather. I had nosebleeds. I had nosebleeds every
Oh,
day.
wow. Yeah.
My thumb is like split right here, like
Yeah.
totally split, crack, killing me. I got a nasty like skin tear on my heel. So the dry weather, the heat, the it's just all that stuff. But my hot foot spring broke.
Oh,
So the spring on my hot foot that makes the hot foot bounce back when you take your foot off it. That
yeah.
thing broke.
Yeah.
That broke. I threw a blade. I threw a blade on
Oh,
my
you
propeller.
did.
Yeah, yeah. I threw a blade on my propeller. On day 3 during the tournament, I had to change my prop.
Yeah. Yeah. Just back it up and swap it out. Obviously, you had a spare prop. Thank God.
Well, check this out. I've never carried a spare prop. I have never carried a spare prop in my entire fishing experience and career.
Uh-huh.
For some reason, this tournament, I went to Anglers Marine and I said, "Hey man, I want to take a spare prop to this tournament just in case. I need to borrow one." "Sure, Tom, no problem. Here, whatever you need." They loaned me a spare prop to put in
That's
my
awesome.
boat
That's good
for this
service.
tournament, and guess what? I needed it. I
Yeah.
I I normally don't have one. I
Yeah.
normally don't have one. So anyway, I
Yeah.
threw a blade and we went into a cove. I beached the boat. I jumped in the water. I changed my prop. I burned like 20 minutes, but
Yeah.
I was good to go. I was
Yeah.
good to go. I couldn't believe it. And then my hot foot spring, but that's the only boat issues I had. We had great weather. It does beat up your gear, beat up your equipment. My boat, I mean, everything's a mess, tackle, all that stuff. But that's how I mean, I fished 8 days in a row, you know,
Yeah.
or 7 days in a row.
Right. Right.
That's how it is. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I would just say if I had to give any advice to anybody, I mean, I had a generator, took my generator in case the power was bad. You just want to be prepared. You want to be
Mm.
super prepared, have extra crap, extra line, extra baits, where to go buy stuff, all that stuff. I can call my buddy Jason and have him FedEx me baits if I need them, stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Great. So, um, well, like I said, congratulations. That was an awesome seventh. Is freaking great. 105 boats. What's going on with the Friends of the Lakes? Just real quick. I mean, we're going on an hour, almost an hour here. Which is great. Trust me, that's awesome. I
I,
didn't think
yeah,
it was
I
going to
hope
go this long.
I hope
How?
everybody didn't get bored and hang up. I hope what I shared was beneficial.
That was good. I thank you for going into detail.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So I'll just say real quick, we don't have to spend much time on this. So, the Friends of the San Diego Lakes group is doing well. It's doing well.
Yeah.
I just can't thank everybody enough for their support. We're trying to grow our membership right now. We're trying to grow our membership. So that's why we've got the posters and the ad campaign out there, right? And
Mm.
I've been giving a few updates here and there. Look, we don't hear a lot of new news about what we've accomplished on a weekly basis because, to be frank, this stuff takes a long time.
Yeah.
It takes a long time. We're not going to get, you know, weekly updates. We're not going
Yeah.
to get even monthly updates. I can share with everybody the priority right now. The priority right now is to get a new road at El Capitan. We
Right.
are 100% focused on getting a new road paved at El Capitan. We're making progress. We're getting there. We're also trying to get more those closed days back. Okay.
Yeah.
Those closed days back, and then some other things, but those are the two main things. Um, it's going in the right direction. We've made a lot of great political connections, and we're trying to grow our membership.
So you're working, speaking of political connections, you're working closely with Joel Anderson's office, right?
Yeah, we have a monthly meeting. We have a monthly
Yeah.
meeting with Joel Anderson's office and his staff, and
Yeah.
they're in direct communication with the city and the county park and rec. And so, I can't say too much because it's a lot of it's
Sure.
speculation, but it's all about money. And if the city's broke and doesn't have money to make these investments, but the county has money. The county's got
Yeah.
money to possibly make some of these investments. So
Mm-hmm.
we're having a lot of meetings with those agencies, and we're the community speaking out about what is needed. And then that gets conveyed through Joel Anderson's office. And that's what's happening. And that's what's going to keep happening for the next many, many months and years.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
stay tuned, keep following us, keep getting your friends to join and follow
Yep.
us.
Yep.
And we're gonna make it happen. We're gonna win more good stuff.
Good. That's what I want to hear.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So
All right.
yeah, thanks for having me. And go out of town, guys. Go out of town and fish. It's a whole new experience. The fish are different. You're gonna see some crazy stuff. The wildlife, the nature. I'm gonna post a bunch more pictures. There's another gallery coming out. They took all kinds of pictures. I'm gonna do a few more posts, but it's just an incredible experience. I can't say enough about signing up for one of these pro-ams and going out of town and fishing them. It's super fun and super enjoyable. And there's a bunch of guys that go. So thanks for having me, Bruce.
All right. Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for coming on. And we're just going to wrap it up here. And we'll talk to you later, Tom. Thanks for all you do for San Diego Lakes. And good going.
Yeah, thanks. Appreciate it.
Okay, talk to you later.